Hello everyone, welcome to another video. In this one we're covering how to get through Shrine of Amana. So yeah, let's get started. That item you can just hit it with your weapon, because if you try to pick it up you will actually fall to, well, potentially your death. These enemies usually attack in combos of 3. And there will be times where you have to fight multiple of them at the same time. So I highly recommend using a weapon that is good, hits side to side. I always say that in these videos, but it is true. If you're using something that doesn't work for you in that particular situation, you are making life a lot harder for yourself. So you can actually just walk around, but to save a little bit of time, I'm gonna go ahead and just jump down. The difficult part hasn't even started yet. So there are NPCs that are singing here, and the singing puts the Lizardmen to sleep. However, when you get close to the singing NPC, they stop singing, and the Lizardmen can potentially wake up. So that's something you need to keep in mind. Also, lighting a torch will attract the Lizardmen, which we will do at strategic points, because when you get close to them as well, they aggro towards you. So you don't want them aggroing towards you when you are unprepared. So you can hear she stopped singing. You can just block against these guys and then attack, but when there's 2 of them, that is a little bit more difficult to do. It doesn't look like I fully one-shot these Lizardmen. That item over there is a human effigy. I guess I can show you how to pick it out. It's not very important, because there's a ton of Lizardmen and you can see they're all coming towards you here. I guess she stopped singing again. When she stops singing, the little fairy dust above their heads will... Yeah, you can see she started singing. I'm not sure. She's a bit weird, that one. But it's really not worth picking up this item. Two human effigies. I mean, you're very close to a bonfire, so you can do that if you wish. You can also light a torch when you're here and attract them, I guess, all at the same time. if you're crazy like that. Or you can open this door here and then light the torch and bottleneck them in the doorway. Actually, open both doors just in case you get trapped. Open that door and open this door, and then try to bottleneck them in the doorway. I did not even know that guy was coming. Yeah, I guess she did stop singing. There's a urn cursing me here. So these are the Malfinitos that sing. I don't really need to talk to her. There's an edge right there. You can spot the Lizardmen when she's singing. You can spot them from the fairy dust glowy thing above their heads. So here begins a little bit more of a difficult part. I kind of want to inch forward until she starts singing. Please begin. I guess she hasn't started yet. Let's take care of these people then. There we go. She started singing. You'll have to fight 2 of these archdrakes at the same time. I'm using a weapon that is pretty long and can potentially hit them both. They essentially aggro when you get like to where I am. That's not even. And I managed to get them both within the hitbox of my weapon. Blocking can be decent, but the problem is when you have 2 of them fighting you, look at this. They knock you back quite a bit. So if they combo you correctly, sometimes you just don't have time to retaliate because the other one hits you before you get to hit him. When I have this weapon buffed, I potentially will be able to one-shot them. This first area I'm just showing you because, it's part of Shrine of Amana, but technically the first and last area of this level isn't the most difficult one. Is after the second bonfire. Between the second and third bonfire, that's what people struggle with. That area between the second and the third, that's the most difficult one. Thinks they're gonna stop coming after me. I don't really need to fight these enemies. Right, so pretty much here is when it begins. I recommend you use a weapon that either one-shots them or at least one combos the enemies if you're using something like a lance, or I wouldn't recommend a halberd, but the spin to win of a halberd one-shotting the enemies. That's why I have the Ring of Blades and the old Leo ring. Because you want to kill these ladies as soon as you get up to them. So for example, right now I'm going to do my strong attack because it's a stab attack, and if I manage to land a counter attack, I will kill them in one hit. Or potentially I kill them in one hit regardless. She dropped an item right here. From this point forward, it's very important that you do things exactly the way I show you, because you will trigger certain enemies if you don't, right? Where your character is placed matters in terms of like when you trigger the specific enemy. So let's buff before fighting this guy. Did I rest? I don't think I rested at the bonfire. That was kind of silly. Whatever. So I like to aggro this guy over here. Notice that I could kill the second sorcerer lady without aggroing this guy. That's important. So don't aggro this guy before you've killed the second sorcerer lady. This guy is weak to strike. I do have a good strike weapon, but I'm stubborn. Don't want to switch weapons right now. Okay, we got him. That was very sloppy. Let's use Divine Blessing. So because the Estus flasks are better. So there is a Lizardman in the water behind the plants, which we will aggro as soon as we walk into the water, pretty much. They can be a bit awkward to hit, these enemies, for sure. And so, okay, you see that, what are they called again? Amana mages, I think. She's behind the pillar right there. When we walk up to her, we want to kill her as quickly as possible, because there's another one behind that structure who's going to start shooting us as soon as we get within range of that one. So eliminate her quickly, because there's a spell coming. And now the same thing, we want to eliminate this one super fast before the other one, before we get within the range of the other one. And most of the spells can be sidestepped. This time I'm going to have to roll. There we go. Now at this point you're pretty safe. That enemy, by the way, you don't have to fight him. The door that he's guarding is locked regardless at this point in the game. So there's a Lizardman right next to where we picked up that Estus Flash shard, I think it was. I didn't actually read it. And now we're going back to a location that has more Lizardmen. You see one right above my head in the water, and there's two over there. See if we can one-bomb this one. We did. I don't really come this way because I don't want the Helix Halberd. But there's a location where you can use a Pharaoh's Lockstone and get the Helix Halberd if you wish. Now it's pretty easy to take out these guys once the mages are dead. There you go. That's where you get the Helix Halberd. Like I mentioned, the Dragon Rider is unnecessary. He's pretty tanky, that guy. But if you are to fight him either on the bridge or over here where you don't have as big of a chance of rolling to your death. So here we go. This rock here is it's like kind of like a safe zone. There's a bunch of Lizardmen everywhere, right? But they won't aggro as long as you keep yourself to the same path as I'm going. So right now we're gonna have to employ the previous strategy. One Lizardman will aggro though. We gotta kill her and then kill her friend. Actually, you can come over here because she's gonna miss with the building. I guess we can just do this. Very easy. Keep it simple. There we go. Because she misses with her spells. This one. And now, once again, we are essentially at a safe zone. I'm I kind of recommend that you open the doors here because enemies tend to get, their AIs tend to get a little bit trapped. So if at any point you struggle with, you know, there's too many enemies to handle, you know that you can come back into this building and confuse their AI, right? That's kind of like a panic last minute solution. Let's check out this guy. This guy's hit in 3s sometimes. Guess that worked pretty well. Just block them and attack because they do a lot of... well, they're difficult to dodge because there's water around, right? Next up, that enemy will not trigger as long as you don't get too close. We want to aggro the ogre. Let's... this guy's weak to thrusts, by the way. Rapiers, lances, or this weapon works. And I want to bait him over here where I'm not slowed down from the water. The way you want to fight this enemy is bait him to sit down multiple times. There are easier locations to practice fighting the ogres, though. I guess we can take out this enemy. She's kind of like on her own. Should be able to get up to her and do an attack before she hits me. And now we're going to go back to our safe rock over there. And light a torch. You can see people are... or lizardmen are already getting aggroed from a distance. And now we're going to go back. Just stay where... look at this. There you go. You don't want these guys surprising you. So now I'm aggroing them on purpose and staying vigilant to where they're coming from. Now that the mages are dead. There are a few other ones over here around this... there's a circular structure here of rocks. And that's a hole that you can fall to your death. I don't want to roll, ideally. There we go, another one incoming. I'm pretty sure that was the majority of the ones over here. I think that was all of them. Now I'm going to go all the way over there, which have 2 more mages. And I believe 1 or 2 more lizardmen. They are going to start shooting me with spells. Unfortunately, we're going to have to tank a few hits because we don't want to roll or we'll use the torch. The torch here serves 2 purposes. Aggroing the lizardmen and allowing you to see the edge. Is one incoming? No. You can use a headset. I believe that works here. There we go. There he is. No, there's one more. There's one more. A headset can also help you out because then you can hear how close the spell is to you, if you know what I mean. So here we go. Before we... I guess you could use throwing knives and a whole bunch of stuff. We'll wait for her to attack one time. Then we'll come across here. There we go. She falls off. You can also roll at this point. She's the final enemy. But those spells can very easily be sidestepped. Or not very easily, but it's relatively easy. You don't really have to sprint or dodge or anything like that. So there we go. We picked up some very good items right there. Sunlight Blade and another Estus Flask shard. Now we're just going to make our way back to that house where we opened both the doors and continue with the level. So far, so good. Let's see, because there is a chest we want to pick up. It's not really mandatory, though. The goal of this is not really to show you where all the items are, because that takes forever, but you can see in the water right there, there are some urns. I'm just gonna, instead of rolling in them and putting on my torch, I'm just gonna put on this. We picked this up in the gutter. Has 1000% resistance to curse. There is one more. And at the very edge of this location, there should be a chest. There it is. Yeah, you're in waist-high water right now. It's pretty ridiculous. Also, this area can very easily be done, or easier be done with a bow. But I'm going to try and do it without a bow as much, well, completely. Okay, let's go to the house. I don't believe I need the torch still. This is a bit funny. You can jump and roll and nothing happens. Okay, there it is, yeah. I just looked around for more of these lizardmen. So I kept the torch. There could be one more. Those guys over there with all the branches should not come for you. And I've already aggroed one of these women. That's alright. And one of the guys, okay. This guy is the only one that comes after you. Wearing armor can be pretty decent because you sometimes can roll or not get staggered from their attacks. So that enemy peppering me right here, I should be able to walk all the way up close to her and kill her without the two archmages aggroing and that guy and that mage aggroing from here. So this rock is kind of like a, not safe spot, but a spot where you only have to fight two enemies. The other ones shouldn't trigger. So there we go. Let me just repair my weapon. This is another time where you're going to have to fight two enemies at once. When I inch forward a little bit, the two archmages will come for me. If I get too overwhelmed, I'll try to make my way back to that rock. And those two right there, actually the healer, the one without a weapon, she might heal them. But at this point in the game, you should have a weapon that two-shots enemies. And the one at the very back, she's a spellcaster, but she shouldn't get activated. So here we go. This guy seems to keep distance from his friend, so I guess I'll take advantage of that. Okay, she didn't. Nobody. Everything's cool. We're gonna try and kill that one before the one at the back aggroes. She literally just stands there looking at you because all she does is heal. That's it. I don't think Alluring Skulls actually works in this area. It's pretty funny. Oh, I was lucky. Okay. Now we're gonna go back because there's a pretty decent ring back there that I like quite a bit. If you hug the mountain or whatever, the wall here, you should be a little bit above the water. Right treasure here, yeah. Okay, so now this guy triggers, and we want to fight him over here where the mage can't hit us essentially. 1, 2. Okay, there we go. Now we can fight the mage on our own. This is where we killed all the Lizardmen. You see that little circular structure that I mentioned you could fall to your death? There are Lizardmen all around that structure. We don't want to have to fight everything at the same time. And here there's a pretty dangerous enemy, especially fighting him in water. So your first roll has to be pretty well calculated. I like to walk to the right. Yeah, that attack sucks. It's a grab attack. He tries to destroy the branches. 1000 damage, that's pretty decent. This thing is plus 10. There we go. So there we go. And now we can continue with the level again. Oh, he dropped something. Around this corner you see an item, or there is an item, and then around the other corner over there you see another item, but the edge ends here, so you have to get that item from the other side. The enemies in here are pretty annoying to fight, to be honest, because they just break your equipment and I just don't want to deal with them. They're pretty slow as well. These ones over here I will have to deal with. As a matter of fact, let me attune a few extra spells here. This one and Flame Swathe. Do I need that? Not really. Things here aren't really weak to fire, as you can imagine, because there's water everywhere. But I do need this for this guy, because the big guy definitely poisons you, or sorry, destroys your stuff really, really fast. So, Great Fireball, pick that up after defeating the Duke's Dear Freya and getting a key from the dude. Okay, this guy's also going to be annoying, so... Did I switch helmets? Alright, another area where you kind of have to strategize. So she starts shooting me immediately, but we're going to ignore her for the time being. So I'm going to come over here. If I take a hit, I mean, it's unlikely. I usually never take a hit because the pillars protect, but an invasion is already triggered. So you want to kill this enemy quickly, and oh, there we go, she didn't die. and then go over to, or sorry, back to where you came from, essentially. You can see if you keep moving in one direction, the spells should miss you, and if they hit you, it's fine, as long as they don't hit you, you know, multiple times. She's already shooting at me. This enemy is a bit, you kind of want to use a faster weapon against her, because she's pretty, she casts pretty quickly. Stay close to her. All she can do is really spells. As long as you don't deplete yourself of stamina, and she does use hexes and magic, you should be pretty decent. I did not mean to do that at all, but alright. So yeah, just hug her like this and she should be a goner, because but you know, she has two spells that do an absurd amount of damage, which you have to watch out for. It's Dark Hail and I believe Crystal Soul Spear. If you spend too much of your resources on that enemy, you can just rest and redo this. That invasion will only happen once. However, you'll have to fight every single other enemy again, of course. Now we're gonna go for the mage to the right. By the way, the item that I mentioned is over there. I don't think it's anything good though. Staying on the outside of the pillars. We're gonna try and one-shot this one, wait for her to shoot. They you know, when you're in their range, they always shoot you at a specific, they have a certain fire rate, if you will. You know what I mean? So they always shoot you at a specific fire rate. Lizardmen right here. And as long as you stay to the outside, the archmages in the middle should not aggro. So we wanted to shoot one more time. Let's bait it out. Guess she's not doing that. Lizardman, boom. We might have to roll under this one. And boom. So you can do one of two things. You can go back to where you came from. I'm actually gonna do that just to keep it safe. You don't have to be on the outside. You can be on the slightly on the inside as well. I don't believe they will aggro towards you. However, the reason I was on the outside was because of dodging the spells. So from here, you can either use a bow or aggro them by walking up to them. Like that. If you kill one, right, and you get hit with a one shot, and you get hit from the other one, it's not a big deal, because at least the problem is fighting two at the same time, right? So if you have to risk getting hit, but you're gonna finish one off, then that's fine. This enemy is another healer, so that's what she does. And some more lizardmen, which aren't really necessary to kill. That was it. That was the whole difficult area of Shrine of Amana. I believe there were 3 times where we had to fight enemies 2 at the same time, essentially. So if you do it in that sort of way, strategizing, you should be good. Now it's pretty much just the boss fight left. And a few items here and there. I'm not gonna pick up everything, it's unnecessary. Oh, listen, man. The person singing is the boss. I guess we'll finish it off with the boss fight just to like round off the area in the video. But everybody knows that this boss is extremely easy. One of the harder areas in this game, but one of the easier bosses. Luckily, I guess. Though keep in mind with this boss, I think he's the boss that does the most damage in the entire game. He has combos like in one combo you, essentially. I'm gonna take off some clothes so that I'm lighter. Oops, not the goddamn sword. Oh boy. Uh-oh. When he does that, I believe he's charging. You can only attack him when his face is open. What I like to do against him, though, is... I'll show you here in a second. So when he closes his face, I stay within his melee range, so that he ideally performs a melee attack. And I just back up as soon as he starts attacking. So I stay within his melee range, back up. He usually hits twice if you're out of his range, and then you attack again. He's kind of reminds me of the old Iron King, where you pretty much just walk away from his attacks. Now I'm backed up against the wall here. May have to reassess the situation. Let's have him turn around. There we go. Stay within his melee range. He attacks once, twice, go into your range, and then kill him. Very simple fight, but like I mentioned, he can get out of control quite easily. that was it though. Shrine of Amana. The next areas coming up are not that hard because you do have a bonfire right there, and then it's the Undead Crypt. So thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed, learned something, and made you, it makes it easier for you to get through this area. And goodbye.